The key to the question of how do I stay updated on AI is getting past this feeling of overwhelm, of resistance to wanting to engage in the topic. And all of that has to do with these cognitive biases. All the communication surrounding AI right now, all the people creating content, is largely triggering the fear factor or that piece around missing out, maybe experiencing regret for not consuming this piece of information or reading this list with 100 new AI tools or staying up to date on everything that is happening in this space. Frankly, it's incredibly overwhelming, and our human brains were not meant to deal with this level of information, with this type of cognitive dissonance where everything we know might change because of this thing, and now we need to adapt to this new world. That is cue for resistance. I'm an organizational psychologist turned design strategist, which means I have a unique blend of behavioral psychology, why people do things and how we can get them to do other things, and design strategy, how the things we create, the products, the services, drive the organization towards its ambitions. Usually this involves complex problem solving using different types of design tools and methodology. And I always apply these two thinking caps to the problems that I face in my own life. One of them is, how do I design a system to continuously stay updated on everything in AI when I feel overwhelmed? So my strategy is simple. What do I want to be staying updated on? Who do I enjoy consuming content from, and what form of content? Long form, short form, video, audio? And who do I want to support with my focus and my buying power? Because as people, we always have power where we give our focus or where we give our money. What are some of the key cognitive biases I see right now happening both in my life and everyone I interact with, as well as how do we move past them? Well, the first one that I see in my life for sure is information overload. Every time I look on Twitter, there's another thread with 50 new AI tools that I have to be aware of. Usually these content creators are phrasing it in a way where you're gonna miss out on the bandwagon if you don't read my content right now. Hello, we know that you get something out of us reading your content. When we as people experience this excessive amount of information, we experience a sort of paralysis where we can't make decisions. This might be from reading technical jargon, the sheer amount of information out there right now. So this is a really good one to be aware of. Of course, there's also this one around loss aversion, where we as people have a tendency to want to avoid losses, even if there is a much higher gain to be had from making a change or taking a risk. There's a lot of uncertainty wrapped up in that. So it's much easier for us to just skip over that this thing is happening, and we can resist engaging with the topic. In the context of AI, it seems like there's a lot of losses on the horizon, a loss of the stability we know, the processes that we know. I'm a strong advocate for that. It is a huge upside. We can leverage AI in so many different ways to give us more productivity and effectiveness, but we will only know that once we've taken the leap. It's much easier in the now to stay with what we know. The last one that I really notice a lot is cognitive dissonance, where discomfort arises from holding a conflicting belief. So we prefer not to engage with the thing that conflicts with our belief. An example of this, I know I'm more capable than what tools exist currently on the market, or I know that those tools have a high risk associated with using them, whether it's ethical or whether there's a security risk. A discomfort arises from engaging and learning with that tool, so we might as well push it aside and resist. So how do we get past this feeling of being overwhelmed and this resistance associated with generative AI? Step 0 is focusing on why we feel this feeling of overwhelm, understanding which of these cognitive biases, which patterns in our head we are reverting to, so we know which thing to target. For me, the biggest issue I face right now is this feeling of overwhelm. Every time I'm on Twitter or YouTube, I see more content that I should probably engage with, but I can't possibly, consume it all. What do I do? For me, this is the key one, so I'm going to focus on this. The system I've designed is the long game. I recognize that right now there are thousands of tools being launched. There's so much information out there. I can't know it all, and I don't need to know it all, because in a couple of years' time, so many of these tools are going to be dead already, and most aren't going to be relevant for our particular needs or our professions. So step 1 is recognizing the need. Are you worried that your job is going to change in the future and you might need to know a specific type of tool or a specific suite of skills? Focus on filtering your content for that, which feeds me into step 2. Choose content creators that you enjoy consuming. Choose the medium of content, whether it's a blog, whether it's Twitter, maybe it's YouTube. It's as much about the voice, the approach. Maybe some people use memes and humor, and other people just speak directly into a camera like I do. There are many voices out there, and there are going to be even more voices that enter the playing field when AI allows content generation to become that much easier. It's happening. And please, support people who don't fearmonger. Yes, we want people to choose our content to click the thumbnail, but using fear as a motivating factor creates a general anxiety in our society, and that's not something that's moving us forward in a positive direction. Fear is a very powerful tool, but you can't use it every single time. It's only going to create more resistance and avoidance. It doesn't help anybody except those people get rich. The third step is accept that we're not going to know everything. And in the same way we don't know the intricacies of how our car works, we do know how to use them. We can drive cars, we might not know how to fix them, but we certainly know how to choose them. Then we choose them based on our needs, whether it's our lifestyle needs, maybe we need a specific type of functionality, or maybe we just want a certain value set represented in this big object in our lives. The same goes for any other product or service that we do consume, and AI tools are no different. The companies that we support with our money or our awareness are where we're spending our buying power. Lastly, step 4 is consuming the content regularly, whether that's once or twice a week, once every 2 weeks. You set time aside to stay up to date on the specific focuses that you have. I would recommend having a content creator who focuses on the broad field, the sorts of big changes and advancements rather than specific tools, as well as someone who focuses on the specific tools and use cases for your profession or skill set or thing you're interested in. So you always get this dual lens. Maybe you want 2 or 3 content creators on each side. Just depends on how much variety you like personally. I like to have 2 or 3 different formats. I really enjoy getting infographics, and I find a lot of them on Twitter. I'll list 1 or 2 names down below. Of course, I'm very interested in organizations, and I also have 1 or 2 content creators I follow on LinkedIn who also give bite-sized, consumable pieces of information. That is how I like to rapidly consume this content. And if there's something that sparks my interest, then I do a deeper dive and my own search. So my strategy is simple. What do I want to be staying updated on? Who do I enjoy consuming content from, and what form of content? Long form, short form, video, audio. And who do I want to support with my focus and my buying power? And supporting things that aren't going to benefit society, such as fear-mongering in this space, is something we are in control of. I will leave you with that today. Thank you, and let me know if you are enjoying my content in the comments down below. I do reply to every comment at this stage. Also, let me know by liking. That really helps me know what to create more of. I will see you in the next one.